Come, dear viewer, take a seat, grab a warm drink, and let me read to you from our vast archives. The library is expansive, and I wish to share knowledge before it fades away like everything else in life. The Jeremian Church had its beginnings in the Carinthian Empire, which was back then referred to as the Empire of all time. It was the year 1222 after Zartov, in the fifth year of King Durian the Twelfth's reign. The people of all time followed the teaching of the prophet Zartov and worshipped the god whom they had named Pride. The prophet Jeremiah was a talented musician and specialized in playing the lute. In his youth he pursued a path of pleasure, squandering all his earnings on ale and gambling. His extravagant lifestyle led him to have impossible debts. One day a debt collector, weary of his endless excuses, decided to put an end to the situation. The debt collector instructed his henchmen to toss Jeremiah into a dried well, anticipating a painful demise. They were surprised when they observed that he had survived the fall and opted to seal off the well, leaving him to succumb to his injuries. This is where the prophetic journey of Jeremiah began. The debt collectors had destroyed his loot, but after spending days in the depths of the well, the only nourishment being water and worms, he began to hear the haunting melody of his lute, unmistakably his own, as no other instrument had been crafted to produce the unique sounds he now perceived. The lute resonated with a divine melody, one beyond the skills of any mortal to replicate. Jeremiah recognized the notes, and within them he discerned a voice conveying that they had deviated from pride's path. The Creator spoke to him through the instrument, instructing him to restore and reform the religion to its intended form. Jeremiah wrote down all the notes he had heard. His notebook had been the only thing the debt collectors hadn't stripped him of. One day, the Saintess Matilda, a dear friend of Jeremiah, who had been searching for him since the day he went missing, also heard the words of the Almighty. She was no musician, so she could not understand what he wished to tell her. She followed the divine music, leading her to the well where Jeremiah had been dropped into. When Jeremiah was finally rescued from the well, he was a changed man. He had become a prophet carrying Pride's words, and soon he would call himself the last prophet, establishing the Church of Jeremiah. A church that preached Pride's words with the usage of music and instruments. There are many documents on this subject, dear viewer. If you wish to know more about the lore of our world, subscribe to our library. We would like to thank you for subscribing and reaching the milestone of 50 followers. It means a great deal to everyone working day and night in this vast archive.